of the night. Erengel's done. We head over to Miramar. Match number 15. 10 games left for the entirety of PCS 3 Apac. And again, a reminder for everyone at home, your pick'em challenges, you got to put them in after today. You got this game and you got the next game, and then that's it. Then you got to go off that leaderboard when you put your pick'ems in. Right now, LG Divine, very much a safe bet. No surprise. Fury, Buriram are the main two contenders after that. But of course, still 2 games to go. Who knows? Maybe, Edge, this could be the 2 games that Fury and Buriram reduce the gap to basically nothing.
That's right. But for Fury, they haven't really had the best of Miramars. As we see, their top 5 for Miramar, 38 points. But whereas LG Divine, 73 points, that's a lot of points to catch up, and it's the same with Buriram as well. Their Miramars really haven't been up to standard as of yet, but we know from the past that they can have those very, very big Miramar games.
Yeah, another team that hasn't done so well on Miramar, that has been in the spotlight, Purple Mood, 14th, but only 14th position with only 18 points. But obviously have got some form coming into these Miramar games, so maybe they can turn it around. It just shows you how much they've been able to achieve on Erengel and mostly really just over the last couple of games more than anything. So they will have to bring that Erengel form over to Miramar if they are going to continue to climb up into the top 5. Otherwise, if they can't and they continue to struggle here on Miramar, then I think their stay at the top is going to be short-lived, as of course Tongkai. Why not? Why wouldn't it be on Tongkai to look to get some early shots in? Phase 1 does not really do too much. Pretty normal. Oh my goodness! Algen Potts gets the knock onto Belmoth. Well, that's one that you try and it maybe takes you the entire year, but you finally get one.
I don't even know if they're going to be able to pick up the flush onto this one, as Poochie's very, very close by, but Algen Bots is also just as close, so whether they can field the push or just leave him to bleed out here.
Yeah, it's almost like you just shoot for the sake of it, and now that he's got the knock, it's like, oh, what now? What now do I do with it? What was the point of that? I guess it just also kind of staggers day trade a little bit, but Algen Bots, I think, didn't really have a full contingency plan to getting the knock. It's just probably something you do instinctively as a player. You see someone parachuting late, take some shots, but you're not really kind of expecting that you're going to get the down.
Yeah, and it does look like from here that they will just be letting Belmoth bleed out, as they don't think it's a very safe push to go for this revive, especially because Poochie's got no helmet at all. So one shot from that SKS would be fatal for him right now.
Obviously, for Day Trade, it has not been a good PCS event. They've been decent throughout PCS 1, PCS 2. Unfortunately, PCS 3 and final one for the year, they are pretty much stuck in the bottom 4. It's only, 15 or so points plus to get further above and out of the bottom 4. But when you're on 58 points out of the 14 games played, they're not really racking up the numbers and to a point where you expect them to go and make up, say, 20 points or so in 1 or 2 games as we continue to fly over Day Trade here. These teams aren't even actually in the circle. In fact, they're probably the furthest away out west to Al Pozo. We transition over to Waiki Kamuka. I think he's going to die here. Oh, he's got spidey sensors. Moves away from Basil. Must have seen him at the fuel tank, surely.
I think for Waikikamuka here, he was actually scouting out the warehouse currently to his left to see if there was anyone there. So if he completely ignored that compound, that might have saved him, but it does look like he will just opt to go towards this crate, and if he does that, he might find himself a nice free compound as well.
Having a good team, Ferox, who have now had 2 games with both being second place, not quite able to find a chicken dinner yet. So close, yet so far, twice now. At the very least, though, 12 much-needed points gained in our previous match. Match 14. But coming up short. If they can have a good game here, they edge closer to Hydra Gaming and Day Trade just above them. Venotica spotted by Angel Alliance. Look, it's their home map. edge. We're not even surprised that they've got 3 kills already. This is where they live and breathe and get a lot of the work done. Angel Alliance up to 81 points, and even they are almost above Battle Arena Elites. Bay's almost out of the top 8.
Yeah, it's pretty surprising, actually, to see Angel Alliance doing so much work so early, and the fact that they've caught up to Bay after having 2, I would say, decent Erangel games, and then coming into Miramar where they're seemingly a lot more confident. It's pretty dangerous for the likes of Bay and even like Purple Mood, who have only just got to their position based off some Erangel games, really.
Yeah. As we look at Division X Gaming, 5th at the moment in the total leaderboard. Just the 11 average points on Miramar. Not many placement points gained. Mostly getting it through their kills, where they're getting about 7.5 kills a game. That's actually really, really good statistically. They just need to stay alive a little bit longer and reap more benefits. 96 total points, 5th place tied with, well, actually 4th place technically tied with Sharper Esport. 1K almost just driving on top of IQ 500. Division X out towards Trailer Park. Definitely a distance away from this Phase 1 circle. By the time they get in, Phase 2 most likely will show itself. The same could probably be said for Angel Alliance. Both those two teams very much out to the far west. But outside of that edge, looking at the map, as we do actually spot Mip and Zuzu push into the church here at Graveyard, everyone else is situated nicely. Nepahor's going to die here. It's pretty stock standard. If a player's above you, they get that advantage. They're going to be shooting at your head. You're going to be shooting at the body. And unfortunately for Bay, things go from bad to worse. Good news for From the Future, though. They jump up to 11th, tied with Cerberus and Victim Rise, all on 73 points. And they've been in good form the last few games.
Yeah, this seems to be our mid-of-the-pack competition at the moment, from our 9th to 12th place, 73 points. They always seem to be matching even on the previous game. So it'll be a little bit of an in-house competition between the 4 of them to see who comes out on top at the end of the tournament. Hopefully they can gather some points to maybe gain their way towards that top 6. It's definitely not out of reach, and we've seen it before and we'll see it again. Teams can easily make up that difference.
Well, the Pick'em Challenge numbers just going to show up here. And oh my, how has Norans done that? I have no idea. PUBG, just sometimes it happens, I guess. But back to the Pick'em Challenges, it's going to be most likely a landslide now, you would think, for LG Divine, as time is running out for, of course, the choices. How many games you've got left, most would probably feel comfortable. The really 9,000 IQ people, though, would still be waiting just to see how these last 2 games play out before submitting their choices. 1 minute till phase number 2, and there is the percentages. LG Divine heavily in front. The Unicorn ones, as we keep saying, certainly inflated. And for Buriram and Fury, they are getting some choices edge, but not too many. If they can finish strong here tonight on Miramar, I would expect to see that percentages rise.
Absolutely, but at this point, I'd say those pick'ems, apart from our second place being Unicorn Cyber, I think they're very warranted at the moment. If you're looking at this from any perspective, LG Divine is definitely the safe pick, but that's not to say that they can't be caught up to, because we've seen it from both Fury and Buriram previously that the gap was closed so close that it was almost a draw in the end.
Reaching the 9-minute mark, that's going to be phase number 2, and that's going to be a hard shift out west on top of Picardo and Power Grid. And I say it time and time again, PUBG likes to do it, but it's a landscape changer. This is going to change a lot for the remainder of this game. The Power Grid mountainous region as well, very elevated over Picardo. And for Division X Gaming coming in late on the west side of that, they are going to be able to be in quite a significant position due to the way the circle has shifted. So for a team coming in quite late, Edge, they're getting a very good circle.
Yeah, that's right. And the likes of Sharper Esports have actually started coming alive. We haven't seen that much of them over the year angles, but they've already picked up, I believe, 2 kills, so a good start for them. They do have that southern area, and King Silver's in a decent spot, but Buriram potentially trying to gatekeep whatever they can of LG Divine on their journey into the circle. Not really too many shots coming out. Levi's might be able to get out with his life. 60 damage, not enough to clean up Levi's. That jump almost cost him his life. Able to get the one tag, get out with 7 HP.
He just lingered in the air forever. I wasn't sure if he was ever going to come down. The med kit has been dropped for Levi's. He stays alive. LG Divine get in front of Buriram. And if that knock had have been successful, you just have to wonder if Buriram might have been like, hey, let's push this. If we can get them out early, why not? Easier said than done. And obviously it's a conversation that does still need to be had if it happens. But when it's LG Divine, you're getting down to the last 10 or 9 games remaining. You got to push the issue some way or another. And LG Divine, just speaking of pushing, are going to go right into Picardo, along with Battle Arena Elites and Cerberus, with 2 of their players, Basil and Sololzi, in here as well. 2-2 split for Cerberus. They got 2 other players further down to the south, Isaki and Subang. Fury down to the south next to Ferox as well. Flood going to see if he can get lucky from that distance. Is not going to be lucky, but Cal will be on terrain. That's a nice quick knock, and they will get the flush as well on terrain.
That was a beautiful shot over there. The one thing I wonder about the rest of this PCS is if teams will feel desperate enough to make hot drops against LG Divine a little bit earlier than like your last 2 games or something like that. Because it gets to a point where if you let LG Divine keep on doing what they're doing, it gets really dangerous for you. And teams like Fury and Buriram, they're not uncomfortable doing hot drops, but LG's split looting makes it very difficult indeed.
It's a difficult conversation to have. Not sure if we'll probably see any hot dropping at this point. 25 seconds until phase number 3. Angel Alliance pretty happy to just play the edge of circle out west. They've already picked up 3 kills. I mean, in terms of early game, that's job done. Now they're just going to get to the mid game. They're going to probably hope, though, for another western shift because they're quite far out to the west. Just to the southeast of Monte Nuevo. Vision X holding the mountains around Power Grid. Victim Rise with a great 2-2 split. Well, we go from west, now we go to east. Graveyard's still in from the future with a 2-2 split. They'll probably bring Gypsy Danger and Hexagon back over to Mip and Zuzu and Triple X. Obviously, for Buriram United, they can go to Edie's position. If Nordra, God Meow, and can actually get a wriggle on, they can get to a very decent compound. Or Edie might elect to go over to Nordra's position, south of Graveyard. For LG Divine, though, it's sort of back where we came from.
Yeah, LG Divine, a little bit unlucky that they did rotate fully past this spot, but the bigger decision here is what Buriram does, because...
Do they do the 2-2 split?
I think it's a little bit too risky at this point, but they may not even get breached if they decide to do it, so the risk may outweigh the reward at the moment.
From what I can see, it looks like that's the play. God Meow's going to go to Edie, and Axie will go to Nordra. 2-2 split, both splits going to be on either side of that road. Fury at the warehouse down to the south side of this circle. I got to say, all things considered, not a bad circle for Fury here. Good position that they can hold at the warehouse. They can see a lot from here, and they can rotate out pretty easily depending on what Phase 4 brings them. Magic Esport haven't moved. Neither has Victim Rise. Division X have moved closer towards Power Grid, so that's sort of the high mountain terrain north of Picardo. You're going to have 4 teams. Hydra Gaming, Magic Esport, Victim Rise, and Division X all around that vicinity. And I don't sense any of those teams are going to want to send it down the hill onto the compound of Buriram. So Buriram should be pretty safe here with this 2-2 split. Flood finds a knock. I don't think he's going to find the elimination, though, onto Sololzi.
Might be a little bit rough here for Hisaki to get in for that revive, as Flood can see the head. Just he can't hit it. He needs to reload here. 1 bullet is all he needs, and he doesn't decide to go for it.
I would imagine he could see the head. Sometimes, of course, there's the smoke glitch with the observing, but it looked as if he could see the head sticking out. Maximus has been knocked. Ferox getting involved outside of the circle against Sharper Esports. They're the ones being gatekept, but they're the ones who found the knock. They need to push either not onto the fight, but at least away from this vicinity, get into the circle as we shift over to Victim Rise and Division X over towards the South Power Grid region at the top of the hill, north of Picado. Phase 3 ending in 30 seconds. Long K goes down to Long K's Molotov. Sometimes it do be like that. You run into your own molly, and it makes it very easy for Victim Rise to win this fight. Division X are just falling one by one like flies and have been attracted to a zapper, and Victim Rise are just zapping them. IQ 500 up close. Don't know if he can go for a revive, especially when GemFalls has that nade, cycling it over to the AK, back to the nade. He's not sure what he wants to do. The flash goes out from Samoy as the smoke does dissipate. He can now finish off Long K and Neil. IQ 500 knocked by Chibrit, and Division X down to just one player left. A horrible affair. Chibrit trying to finish him off with the pan, does so in the end onto IQ 500. Missed it the first time, got it the second time, and Fergus is the last one alive for Division X.
Yeah, definitely don't want to waste those bullets if you can avoid it. And knowing that Fergus is so far away,
I don't think it has anything
that
to
is
do
a
with the
beautiful nade, though, from Fergus in return onto GenFoss, but he will get taken out quite quickly after by Simoy, so...
Oh, my God. And I don't even think we've shown the circle yet, but it's another hard shift, this time out to the east again, right on top of Buriram. That 2-2 split has ended. They've grouped back up just southwest of Graveyard. LG Divine just barely in. Cow's found a decent position as well inside. Insight's not inside, though, as Sharper Esport have moved away from Ferox and south of Picado over towards Fury. Insight's going to be so careful here. Could find really 3 or 4 with one nade at a time, considering how close Sharper are. That nade's going to fall short of the mark, and he is probably getting too close for comfort here. Wants to fall back over to the warehouse. Ronan and Flood getting pushed on by Angel Alliance. Flood's knocked by High Saki over in Picado. And Fury do have to be careful. There's a few teams surrounding them.
Yeah, absolutely. And Angel Alliance is getting very, very close to Waikakamukau as well. So they have to be very careful and on their toes at every moment here. There's not a lot of space for teams to go into, and what Fury holds right now is probably one of the highest tier positions you can have, other than having the shanty town that Buriram currently occupies. LG Divine has a little bit of a dip, but not too much to play with, as we see VTR rotating in. There's a bit of a mess going on right now in Picado as every team's trying to get in, out, and around it. But it will sort of slow down a little bit while teams are making their moves.
But they've only got a minute and 20. It's not like Picado's inside the circle. These guys are going to have to leave. You know, Ferox, Sweet Soul Monty just trying to run away up north of Picado. Victim Rise now getting on their vehicles and getting a move on. Miles is low. It won't take much to knock him out of that Murado. In fact, all 3 members of Victim Rise very, very low. I'm not sure where the 4th is. It's actually Chibrit, who stayed in Picado for now. He's going to be very late. GemFoss gets a bit of air. That time it might actually help out. 11 health for GemFoss and just goes for the risky first aid kit. Evil Patrick knocked, and it continues to just boil over in Picado. Bay are going to be the beneficiaries, though, because they are not really moving. They were kind of more so on the edge of Picado, and they have eliminated the 2 members of Ferox, Sweet Soul, and Monty. Ferox are out in 14th. And the gap between them and Unicorn Cyber 20, and Unicorn are in a great spot to potentially capitalize. GemFoss couldn't get the knock, though, onto John, who finds a double here for LG Divine. It could have really gone pear-shape against Victim Rise, but they've come out on top quite significantly as well. All 4 members still up. Levi's and Jun will heal, but LG Divine are very happy to find those kills early on. And in the kill feed, 3 members of Fury are all knocked. It's only Waikakamukau that remains.
You're not a good game for Fury here, going out in that 12th position. Not the start they would have liked for. I believe they do get the bleed out onto Magnuson, so a point for their woes. But as we say that, Sharper getting pushed on now by Cerberus. Cerberus coming in with a vengeance. Basil gets one onto Kim Siva. Sololzi will pick up, or sorry, Haisaki picks up the remaining player. So, not the greatest game for Sharper. The nades come out now. Definitely doesn't survive the Molotov, as there will be 1 player remaining for VTR. All of LG Divine starting to push on now. He gets 1 knock onto John, throws out the nade to try and get the flush. It might be good here, a little bit too far. John will survive.
Always
probably get flushed out from above. JN going for the revive on very low HP though, so
my.
Camels could really be dangerous right now for LG Divine.
He's got another nade, but I don't think he knows exactly how far. Oh, that might work. It bounces off the shack. It might actually work, and it does. It will finish off Jun because it bounced off the shack. Had it gone inside the shack, it wouldn't have done anything. JN's been knocked as well. There goes Kamals and Victor Rise out in 10th position. 20 minutes gone, and we're down to just 9 teams and 31 alive. And JN is just going to be left for dead because NamC and Levi's need to find a better position inside of the circle. Well, Fury are out. They didn't gain too much. They did find a few kills actually from beyond the grave. I think 2 kills they got from bleed outs. JN actually is going to be saved by Levi's. So he isn't going to be left for dead just yet. NamC did push forward. But LG Divine, anything from here is a bonus. They've already gone from 30 now to 31. So they have increased the gap onto Fury, and we'll be able to do so as NamC. What a nade from over that hill onto Jukesy, the second one to follow. It hasn't really been the night for Jukesy. Unfortunately, it hasn't really been the night at all for Battle Arena Elites either. And despite Sophia's great season so far, he just can't do it in that situation. 5 kills for LG Divine, and they further increase that lead in first place.
Yeah, LG Divine looking absolutely monstrous right now. This is pretty clear why Miramar is really their home ground. They do lose Levi's to the teamwork of Imama and Valax. So still having the 2 players, they've got 5 kills to their name. They're in the placement points now. If they can stay alive for a little bit here, they might be able to pick up a little bit more. But J-End looks to be in no man's land as Imama's putting in a lot of shots in his direction. If LG Divine tries to go the opposite way, they come under threat from Purple Mood and Cerberus Esports. Cerberus has been picking up a lot of kills as well, and Purple Mood, obviously the victor of our last 2 maps. So probably not the way that LG Divine wants to go in this current moment.
Can Purple Mood find 3 in a row? That's a question we kind of have to ask now. They've got a pretty decent stake down south in terms of position. Cerberus are close, and Cerberus do have all 4 players up. That's going to be a big test for them. But if they can deal with Cerberus, man, it's just open season, I think, for Purple Mood this game to potentially get 3 wins in a row. Rocky Jims will rock JN's world there with a knockdown. Los Santos, though, has been surprised by Basil. JN can crawl over to the pickup truck. Haisaki's not, so is Sololzi. Magic Esport, Purple Mood, both getting involved there against Cerberus. Purple Mood just continue their great form. And if it does continue, they can potentially get into the top 5 at the conclusion of this match, looking to overtake Division X, maybe even Sharper Esport with a high kill win, as NamC will just move on as a solo here on out for LG Divine.
Yeah, sometimes the best option is to just send it, and that's what we see NamC doing right now, driving through the center of the circle and actually breaching onto the Hydra Gaming guys. But Rabbit will pick that one up very quickly and keep them in it. They've only got 2 players remaining. Tonkay from Magic Gaming throwing the nades into the hut. This could be bad, but doesn't go into the doorway. They'll stay alive for now. Nice shots coming out from Tonkay. A nade in return. Tonkay trying to get out of the way of that. He'll lose a little bit of health, but he's still quite healthy. The rest of Magic Esports sitting back, just supporting at the moment, just popping shots wherever they can. Still got 7 teams left. We've got Hydra Gaming in the center, Purple Mood holding that southern position.
I don't think they're supporting. I think they're just finding it difficult because Buriram just keep sort of lining them up. This time they've just had to really send it and move away from Buriram, who have now also turned their attention to From the Future. So this will buy time for Magic Esport, the other 3 members, to group up, get to Tonkay. Gypsy Danger definitely not going to get revived, not even close to Mipinzuzu and Triple X. Kanaxi will get the bleed out onto Gypsy Danger. This is a big game now for Buriram. They've got to capitalize. They have to. No ifs, ands, or buts. They're up to 109 from the starting point of 105. So they've got 4 alive. They can sweep the north side of the circle. They need to go find kills. It's at the point now. Oh, they all know. For best 1301 of Unicorn Cyber. We'll get the knock onto Triple X. Mipinzuzu should get the revive, though. Still has quite a few bullets left for that Orm. 3 kills for Buriram. Need to push out and look to get a big kill win here if they're going to reduce the gap to LG Divine.
Yeah, that's right. They're definitely overtaking Fury this game, but it's whether they can gain enough points to put themselves in a little bit of a nicer spot to catch up to
Oh.
Divine. The nade comes out onto From the Future, and it is good, but it's just not cooked enough. Zuzu throws a nade in return. It might be on top of Edie's head here, and it is. Edie dodges it quickly. From the Future in between a rock and a hard place now. Unicorn Sniper Cyber holding them from above, and then Buriram directly in front. It's not looking good for From the Future in this position.
It is a lot of utility, though, that Buriram are expending here. Now, also may have caught that Purple Mood Esport were eliminated, or not eliminated, they got one left, but I don't think they're going to get the win here. So 6th place will do for now, and they're obviously very close to Division X, only 6 points there, and 11 points behind Sharper Esport, and they do get at least a little bit of breathing room. It's still so close to the teams below them. You look towards like VTR are only 12 points behind Purple Moon from 11th to 6th as Canaxi finally gets one of the knockdowns. There's the second to follow. Quick double for Canaxi, and that puts Buriram now up to 5 kills. They'll also over leap Fury. Well, they'll leap over Fury as they are 31 points behind LG Divine now.
You know, the gap is slowly closing, but that's kind of been the story of both PCSs, is slowly getting points, and then LG Divine gets a little bit more. It's just the way the game generally works. Magic Esports in quite a nice spot right now. I think once the top of the hill gets taken out, Magic might be able to come alive and start clearing out the likes of Hydra Gaming in this hut. Actually, as we say that, God Meow picks up Rabbit in the hut. Magic, this is their go time. They know one's knocked. The flash comes out. Simon can't do anything. The jump shot from Tonkay will do a lot of damage, but Simon won't be able to get anything out of that as Imama will pick up the kill.
But have they just gone really into the spider's web here? Buriram, obviously, they got that knock, they got that flush, and now they should be able to just continue on here and put the pressure onto Magic Esport from this position. They're just stuck in the shack. They did use a lot of nades, though, previously against From the Future, so not sure what their nade utility looks like. 115 points now for Buriram. Bass 1301 with a bit of a jump. It runs right into Basil, who does get Cerberus Esports up to 10 kills. What a big game from them for a team that was, you know, falling down the standings. They were in 11th position. We keep harping on about it, but how close that middle pack is, and in this one game now they're up into 7th, so 87 points now for Cerberus from 11th to 7th in one game. That blue nade does get 3 damage onto Basil. 15 points away from Ferox. Unicorn have been able to get a few points, as they will at least get a top 4 placing this match.
Absolutely, and the likes of Unicorn, they've had a pretty decent game. They've only got 1 kill to show for it, but they've got themselves the placement points. And at the moment, for them, every point matters. As we see Edie pick up another point onto Salabi. And that's a pretty crucial one, putting it into a 4v3 for Buriram and Magic Esports. They're really going to have to put some work in. They don't have the best spot. They've got a bad hut. Godmeow gets another knock onto Valax, and I don't think there's much Magic can do.
Magic Esport, though, have just jumped Bay, so they're into the top 8. Bay are out of the top 8. Can you believe it? They're in 9th now. Unfortunately for Battle Arena Elites, tumbling from the top 4 down to 9th as Edie gets the knock onto Imamar. Well, I think this is imminent. Buriram United are going to have their 3rd chicken dinner for PCS3 Apac. We talk about, is it going to be a runaway for LG Divine? Well, Buriram United are doing their best effort to make sure there's still a contest, a 10-kill win for basically the best contender to LG Divine at this point currently. They get that lead that was quite substantial. It was around 35-40, down to just about